Greetings to all the uncles, aunts, and dear friends who are following the channel The Sentiments of Old Age. Ngok looked up and saw me, immediately falling silent, pulling her hand back with a flicker of fear on her face. My heart clenched. Was Thu warning her not to speak? That night, when the whole house was asleep, I heard sounds again. I crept out, pressing my ear to the living room door. Thu's voice came through, low but urgent. Yes, she suspects nothing yet. We must act fast. I won't miss this chance. Follow the plan just a few more days. I froze, my heart thundering as if it would burst from my chest. Those words were no longer vague. They confirmed that something was truly being plotted in this house. Trembling, I slipped back into my room, lying silently beside my granddaughter, careful not to betray myself. In that moment, only one thought burned in my mind. Tomorrow morning, I must meet Uncle Ten. The next morning, I used the excuse of going to the market to buy herbs for a medicinal brew. Thu suspected nothing, even reminding me, "Be sure to come back soon, Mother. Don't stay out long." I nodded, but inside I had already decided. Today, I would find Uncle Ten and tell him everything. I took a motorbike taxi to the local police station and was lucky to find Uncle Ten, the officer on duty that day. Seeing me arrive with a haggard face, he looked slightly surprised. "Did you come alone? You look exhausted." I sat down and slowly recounted everything, from the strange whispers to my grandchild's terrified eyes. As I spoke, tears streamed down my face, and my voice broke. Uncle Ten quietly listened and nodded. "Mrs. Lun, what you're telling me is no small matter. I'll assign someone to keep an eye on things, but you must remain discreet. If they discover you're suspicious, the danger will grow." Hearing this, I felt both frightened and relieved. At least someone believed me. Before I left, he warned, "If anything unusual happens, remember the details. Even better, try to record or keep evidence." I nodded, a faint glimmer of hope rising in my chest. Back home, I tried to act normal, cooking, cleaning, as though nothing had happened. But at night, when Thu stepped out to the balcony to make phone calls again, I secretly picked up my old phone and switched on the recording function. My heart pounded, terrified of being caught. Through the slightly ajar door, her voice came through clearly. "Don't worry, the old woman's done for. In just a few days, everything will be ours." Those words struck me like a bolt of lightning. I gripped the phone tightly, tears streaming down my face. So I hadn't imagined it after all. That night, lying beside little Ngark, stroking her soft hair, I whispered a vow. "I will protect you, no matter what it costs." From that moment, I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. But I was only an old, frail woman. Would anyone believe me? What would my son think? Would he believe? Or would he think I was slandering his wife? The next day at lunch, I tried probing. "Yesterday I heard you talking on the phone. You sounded happy?" Thu paused slightly, then gave a faint smile. "Just a colleague, Mother. Nothing important." Her eyes flickered coldly, though her lips still smiled. I pretended to nod, but inside I felt more certain than ever. That afternoon, I sent the recording to Uncle Tun for safekeeping. He called back, his voice firm. "Don't worry, we'll keep watch. But you must stay calm, don't let her suspect." His words made me feel both reassured and anxious. I was walking a tightrope, one misstep away from disaster. At night, holding my grandchild close, I replayed my daughter-in-law's words in my mind. For the first time, I felt keenly how fragile family peace truly was. I was no longer just an old mother cooking meals and rocking her grandchild to sleep. I had become someone who had to quietly observe, to find ways to protect herself. From that day on, a fire of both fear and anger smoldered inside me. I asked myself, what had I done wrong to live in constant dread under my son's roof? Was it because I'd grown old and become a burden, or was there some deeper reason? These questions tore at my heart. Day after day, I continued my routine, taking Ngok to school, cooking, cleaning. Thu appeared less harsh, even sometimes asking kindly, "Mother, if you're tired, rest. Let me handle it." But I knew it was just a facade. Behind that gentle smile, I had already heard the truth. One morning, as I dropped Ngok off at school, her teacher gently pulled me aside and whispered, "Mrs. Lun, lately Ngok has been withdrawn, speaking little, sometimes looking fearful. Has something happened at home? Hearing this, my heart clenched. I realized the child had been affected, having seen and heard things no child should ever have to. I clasped the teacher's hand, my voice trembling, tears welling up. I softly told the teacher, "Something has been happening at home, but I'll comfort her. Please don't worry." I said that, yet my heart ached. That afternoon, I sat beside little Knock, pretending to tell her a fairy tale. Her dark, shining eyes looked at me, glistening, as if on the verge of tears. "Grandma, does Mom Thu hate you?" I froze, unable to answer. I pulled my granddaughter close and whispered, "Grandma is fine. As long as I have you by my side, that's enough." Knock buried her head into my chest, trembling. "I love you, Grandma. I'm scared that one day you'll disappear." I bit my lip to keep from sobbing, my hand gently patting her back. In that moment, I realized I had to endure twice as much, not just for myself, but for this innocent child. That night, Uncle Tun called. His voice was grave. "I've listened to the recording you sent. There are indeed suspicious signs. I'll have someone secretly watch Thu, but you must keep everything hidden. If she finds out, it will be very dangerous." I nodded, both relieved and shaken. I knew I had stepped into an unpredictable storm, but there was no turning back now. In the following days, I began to notice a strange man often loitering around the apartment complex, well-dressed, with the air of someone who clearly didn't live there. Each time he appeared, Thu suddenly found excuses to go out shopping, meeting friends. From afar, I saw them talking for long stretches, sometimes slipping into a nearby cafe together. My heart tightened. Was there more to this, a secret affair? Or a scheme in which I had become the obstacle? One day, as I brought Ngok home, I passed through the corridor and overheard the man murmuring, "We need to hurry. Delay will ruin everything. I don't want this dragged out any longer." Thu glanced around and whispered back, "All right, I'll arrange it. Just a few more days." Clutching Ngok's hand, I hurried away, my heart pounding wildly. I knew the danger was drawing closer. That night, I called Uncle Ten and told him everything I had seen. He was silent for a moment, then said, "You did the right thing. I believe this isn't just a family matter. It may involve money or property. You must be extremely cautious. Report any new details to me immediately." His words made me shudder. I remembered Hung once saying his company was preparing a major project. Perhaps it involved a large sum of money. Thu was clever. Maybe she was aiming for that, and I had become the obstacle in her way. The next day, I feigned illness and stayed home to observe. As soon as Hung left, Thu made a call, her voice full of calculation. "Don't worry. In just a few days, this house will be under our name. The old woman's done for. Nothing to fear. Just handle your part, and I'll take care of the rest." I lay still, cold sweat dripping down my temples. This time, there was no doubt. Quietly, I reached for my phone and pressed record. Thu's voice was clear, undeniable. I immediately sent the file to Uncle Tun. A short while later, he called back, his tone grave. "Mrs. Lun, this is crucial evidence. You must stay safe at all costs. I'll arrange a secret meeting with you, but remember, don't let Thu suspect a thing." My voice shook as I answered, "Uncle, I only hope to protect my granddaughter and keep a little peace. I don't dare to wish for more." That evening, the whole family sat together at dinner. Hung laughed and chatted, blissfully unaware of what was unfolding behind his back. I wanted to tell him everything, to expose the truth, but reason held me back. One wrong move, and Knock and I could fall into danger. Instead, I quietly placed another piece of fish into my granddaughter's bowl, pretending to be nothing more than an ordinary grandmother. Late at night, after Ngok had fallen asleep, I sat silently in the dark. Thinking of what lay ahead, I knew the storm was fast approaching, and I had no choice but to face it. I remembered my younger days, when I thought life was simple: take care of my husband, raise my children, and old age would be peaceful. But life was never that easy. Now, with my hair turned white, I was forced to fight a battle I never imagined. Softly, I whispered, "My dear husband, please watch over me. I don't fear hardship, only that I may fail to protect our grandchild." Moonlight streamed through the window, illuminating Ngok's innocent face as she slept soundly. Looking at her, I felt a strange strength rise within me. I knew this battle had only just begun, but I would not give up. I told myself, tomorrow I must meet with Uncle Ten to discuss the next steps. The truth had to come to light, and I had to stay alive long enough to see that day. The next morning, I woke early. The city was veiled in seasonal mist, white fog covering the streets, the chill seeping into my bones. I sat by the window, listening to the faint whistling of the wind, my mind tangled with worries. Today, I had to lay everything bare to Uncle Tun, while also finding a way to protect myself and little Ingyak. I knew I could not stay silent forever, letting others plot as they pleased. After breakfast, I pretended to speak casually to Thu. I feel a bit unwell. I'll go to the market and buy some herbs to boil for medicine. I'll be back before noon to cook lunch. She glanced at me, her eyes sharp, though her voice remained calm. Go if you must, but don't wander too long. Illness is not something to take lightly. It sounded like concern, but inside I shuddered. I quietly picked up my bag, praying the day would go smoothly. At the police station, Uncle Tun led me into a private room. He sat opposite me, his gaze stern yet warm. Mrs. Lon, we've been monitoring the area, and indeed there are many unusual activities around your home. The man you mentioned is no ordinary person. He was involved in a fraud case before. My blood ran cold, my whole body trembling. My instincts had been right, and the truth was even more dangerous than I imagined. My voice broke. Oh God, I'm just an old woman. How can I possibly handle this? I only worry for my granddaughter, she's still so young. Uncle Ten nodded gently. Don't worry, we'll keep a close watch. But the most important thing right now is that you act completely normal. If they sense suspicion, they may strike first, and then it will be hard for us to control the situation. I nodded repeatedly, gratitude and fear battling within me. On the way home, I wondered how I could live each day, forced to stay calm in front of someone secretly plotting against me. Only when I thought of Ngok, her innocent eyes and tender face, did I find the courage to keep going. When I returned, Hung was already at work. Only Thu was there, folding clothes. She looked up with a faint smile. Did you buy the herbs, Mother? I held up the bag and smiled lightly. Yes, I'll brew them soon. Her eyes lingered on me, sharp and probing. But I forced myself to appear natural and walked into the kitchen. I understood clearly that from now on, every gesture, every move of mine, might be under scrutiny. The following days, I lived in constant tension. Thu became more subtle, outwardly gentle, even suggesting I teach Nok to read and cook her favorite dishes. But I knew, behind that smile, she was still in contact with the strange man. Sometimes I even noticed how carefully she groomed herself before going out. I pretended not to notice, silently praying the police would soon gather enough evidence to act. One evening, while the family was eating together, Thu suddenly said, Hung, I think your mother's old house in the countryside is too dilapidated now. Leaving it empty is such a waste. Why not sell it and use the money to invest in your upcoming project? Mother is living with us here for good anyway. She hardly ever goes back. I froze, the spoon in my hand stopping midair, my heart racing wildly, terrified my son might agree. Sure enough, Hung hesitated. Well, I have thought about it before, but what about Mother? Before he could finish, Thu cut in firmly. She's old now. She doesn't need anything. What matters is that you move forward for the sake of the whole family. At that moment, I could only sit silently, my trembling hands hidden beneath the table, while a wave of unspeakable anguish surged through my chest. She turned to me with a forced smile. Mother, don't you think that would make more sense? My throat tightened. My nose stung. I understood this was only the beginning. If my son agreed, the house in the countryside, the only asset we had, and the lifelong memory of my husband and me, would be gone. I bit my lip and forced myself to speak slowly. That house holds so many memories. I don't want to sell it yet, my child. Hung only nodded lightly, respecting my words, but I clearly caught the flash of anger in Thu's eyes, her jaw tensing as if she were restraining something. In that instant, I became certain she was harboring a plan to take what was mine. That night, I called Uncle Tun again to recount everything. He pondered for a while, then said, So it's clear now. Her target is both the countryside house and Hung's career. You must remain calm and not act rashly. I'll soon have a plan. His words gave me some reassurance, though my heart still burned with anxiety. The next morning, while I was hanging laundry, little Knock ran up and whispered, "Grandma, last night I heard Mom say that in just a few days you won't be here anymore." I'm so scared. I trembled as I pulled her into my arms, tears falling onto her soft hair. I knew time was running short. The scheme was drawing near, waiting for its moment to strike. That night, I tossed and turned before finally deciding to prepare. I quietly tucked some money into my bag, along with a change of clothes for Ngark. If the worst should happen, I would take her and leave at once. Before she fell asleep, I whispered, "Ngak, if one day I tell you we have to go immediately, don't ask questions, just follow me, all right?" The child's eyes widened as she nodded and hugged me tight. "I trust you, Grandma." At that moment, pain and resolve intertwined in my heart. Only my love for her gave me the strength to stand against the storm. Outside, the wind howled, darkness shrouding the city. I lay still, gripped by a fierce premonition. A great upheaval was drawing close. The next morning, Thu suddenly acted cheerful, bustling about as she tidied the house, speaking lightly. "We'll have guests this evening. Mother, please help me prepare a proper meal." I asked, "Who's coming, dear?" She smiled faintly. "Friends of Hung's," but her eyes gleamed strangely, lacking true warmth. A chill ran through me, though I kept my face calm and nodded. Hung added hurriedly, "Mother, the company's under pressure. This afternoon, some partners are coming over to discuss business. Please help my wife prepare the meal." I nodded, but inside I knew Thu was using this as a pretext to meet that mysterious man. As dusk fell, I busied myself in the kitchen, cooking dish after dish. Thu barely lifted a finger, instead sitting in the living room, carefully doing her makeup and changing into new dresses. Through the half-open door, I saw her select a fresh gown, her face glowing in a way I'd never seen. My heart clenched. Something ominous was about to happen tonight. The doorbell rang. I wiped my hands and went to open it, only to freeze. Standing before me was the very man who had been lurking around the neighborhood. He was impeccably dressed, his demeanor confident, his smile carrying a hidden meaning. Thu hurried to the door to greet him, her voice sweet. "You're here already, come in." She turned to me, a fleeting coldness in her eyes quickly masked by a smile. "Mother, this is one of Hung's business partners." I nodded politely, forcing calm even as my heart raced. The man gave a slight bow. "Good evening, ma'am. I'm only here to discuss some business matters." During the meal, Hung was all cheer, raising his cup and talking non-stop about the project. Thu sat beside him, chiming in constantly, her face glowing with excitement. The man remained quiet for the most part, only slipping in a few words here and there. Yet, I noticed how vague and suggestive his remarks were. If everything goes smoothly, this family will surely take a great leap forward. But first, certain unnecessary obstacles must be removed. The words sent a chill down my spine. I glanced at Thu. Just as she was looking at me, her eyes flashed with something unsettling. I understood at once. That obstacle was me. Little Ngok, seated by my side, clutched my hand tightly under the table, her small fingers trembling. I squeezed back to comfort her. Hung, oblivious, went on laughing and talking, never sensing the storm looming behind his wife's smile. I looked at my son with both love and sorrow. His trust in her was blind, and he could not see the scheming in the shadows. After dinner, while Hung was seeing the guest off, I caught a glimpse of Thu leaning close to the man, whispering, "Don't worry, everything is ready. Just a few more days." I froze, then quickly bent down to pick up a pair of fallen chopsticks, masking my shock. Inside, my thoughts tangled like threads clearly. The plot was nearing its final stage. That night, when the house was quiet, I slipped out to the balcony and called Uncle Tun. My voice shook as I told him everything. He replied firmly, "Stay calm. We've been tracking him. He is indeed tied to several fraud cases. What you've said confirms it further. All you need to do now is act as if you know nothing. If anything happens, stall for time until we can intervene." I bit my lip, tears streaming down my face, but I answered, "Yes, I understand." That night, I couldn't close my eyes. Fear pressed in on me from all sides. Yet each time I looked at Ngok's innocent sleeping face, I reminded myself, no matter what, I must protect her. The next morning, Thu said to Hung, "This weekend, I'd like to take Ngok to my parents' place for a few days. With mother here, you can go on your business trip without worry." My chest tightened instantly. This was an excuse either to separate Ngok from me or to leave me behind, alone. Hung, unsuspecting, agreed without hesitation. "Sure, arrange it as you like. With mother at home, I can go away at ease." I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced a smile, saying nothing.